So today we're going to break down this really bold vision for the future of the internet, something called WebGold. It's being presented as more than just new tech. It's supposed to be the next big step in our evolution online. So let's just dive right in and see what this so-called golden age is all about. Okay, so the whole idea really kicks off with this massive question. I mean, we've all seen the internet change in incredible ways, right? But where is all of this actually going? The argument we're digging into today is that it's heading for a golden age. And to really get what that means, we've got to first take a quick look back at how we even got here. The document we're looking at, it frames the entire history of the internet as a journey through three different ages. It starts with the digital Stone Age, moves to an Iron Age, and then lands us in what it calls a Wild West. It's a quick history lesson, but it's totally essential to understand the problem that WebGold is claiming it can solve. And here's the roadmap for that journey. We start way back in 1990 with what they're calling the Stone Age. That's Web 1.0. Then, fast forward to around 2005, and we step into the Iron Age of Web 2.0. And more recently, kicking off in 2014, we've been living in the Wild West of Web 3.0. Now, each one of these eras gave us new powers, for sure, but they also came with their own set of serious problems. This table just lays it all out perfectly. Web 1.0, the Stone Age. It was basically a one-way street. You could look, but you couldn't touch. Then Web 2.0 comes along, the Iron Age, and bam, we get social media, we can create stuff. But the catch was that huge corporations got control of all our data. And then you have Web 3.0, the Wild West, which promised we could finally own our stuff. But this document argues what it really delivered was just chaos, a lawless frontier full of scams with no real rules or civilization. The key takeaway here is that every step forward had a major downside. So, after the Stone Age, the Iron Age, and the Wild West, what could possibly be next? Well, this is where the source introduces its big solution to all those past problems. And it's calling it the Golden Age. And this is the core promise, right here. An era of real wealth, real sovereignty, and real identity. See, the vision isn't about slightly faster internet or a new social media app. It's about completely changing what wealth, control, and even your own identity mean when you're online. So what does that actually look like? Well, first, an economy that's actually backed by physical gold. You've got infrastructure built in a way that no single company or government can just pull the plug. And this is a huge one. The AI, well, it's owned by the entire network, not just a couple of giant tech companies. Now, the document makes one thing super clear. This isn't just another tech project. It's being framed as a whole new digital civilization. And just like any real civilization, it needs a solid foundation, which it says is built on 6 fundamental pillars. Yep, 6 pillars. These are basically the architectural supports for this entire vision. So let's break them down one by one. Pillar number 1 is the e-gold chain. You can think of this as the lifeblood of the whole system. It's the core technology, the blockchain that's designed to be the official, decentralized record for everything in this new digital world, shifting power away from any central control. Okay, pillar 2, gold. And this, obviously, is where the name WebGold really comes from. The whole idea here is that for an online economy to have real value, it has to be tied to a real-world asset. And in this vision, actual, physical gold is that foundation for its digital currency. Next up, pillar 3 is the tech stack. And we're talking a full, self-contained ecosystem here. Its own operating system, its own browser, its own phone, even its own computers. The whole point? Total self-reliance. To create a corner of the internet that doesn't need to lean on any of the existing big tech giants to survive. Pillar 4 is something called DPIN, and that stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure. And honestly, this is a pretty fascinating concept. Think of it like an Airbnb, but for the internet itself. Instead of a few giant companies owning all the servers and cables, regular people can pitch in with their own resources, like extra storage on their computer or bandwidth, and get paid for helping to build and actually own a piece of the network. All right, pillar 5 brings in a whole new flavor of AI, what the source calls civilizational AI, or DAI. And this side really puts it side by side. On one hand, you've got corporate AI, which can be shut down, it can be censored. But on the other, you have this new version, which is designed to be unstoppable, impossible to manipulate, and owned by everybody on the network. And that brings us to the final pillar, number 6, Gold Sky. You know, if the e-gold chain is the lifeblood, then Gold Sky is kind of like the atmosphere. It's this big, overarching layer that connects everything together. Your identity, the AI, the blockchain, all into one cohesive, decentralized world that no single person or group can control. Okay, so we've walked through the history, the big promise, and the 6 pillars that are supposed to hold this whole thing up. So let's try to bring it all together and land on what the source's final definition of WebGold really is. So when you boil it all down, what is WebGold according to this document? Well, it's envisioned as nothing less than the internet's golden age, a full-on digital civilization that's owned by its users, with an economy anchored to a physical asset, with infrastructure that can't be censored, and with an identity that truly, finally belongs to you. You know, it's one thing to draw up the blueprints for a whole new digital civilization, but that leaves us with the biggest question of all. If something this ambitious is actually built, who's going to show up to live there?